This is 2026 Decompression chat with Adam and Regan. Thanks for joining us. Let's start out with, what do you think set this year's origin apart from past ones?
Well, first I should say I think the last 3 years have been sort of pretty flawless in terms of the shell of the festival, the mechanics of it. I think things are just kind of, not to say autopilot, but it's got that flow to it that just makes you very comfortable from the moment you get there. And I don't get too involved in anything technical beyond my set, so I come to party as much as I come to play. So I also kind of feel it from both sides, and I get the fun factor very quickly when I arrive, which is super nice. And this year, I think the big change was the Beats floor opened up on the Friday, which was different. I don't know if that's just again offering more choice for the festival goers, which is cool. And so that was kind of a nice surprise. I think, the weather the build up to it was kind of, there was no anxiety around the weather. Everything just seemed to be kind of channeling to a good time. Obviously, I'm not doing production and setup like Regan, so I don't have that. I mean, the weight of the weather thing is quite big on someone like for him and his team. But I think even as a punter, that's a factor. So all things were kind of leading to a very good time. And I think, this year just felt like everything, maybe every year sort of being kind of the success that it was, just meant that micro improvements, even though they're small, it still makes a big difference. And it was just better it not in a way that sort of makes last year's any worse. It was just an even better time somehow.
Totally. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It really was it. And like one of the things we had this year was we had a bigger crew because we wanted to get certain things accomplished, and we just realized that just to get that done, we needed to have a bit more production crew. So we had that, and the weather played along. So the vibe on site was amazing before gates were opened even. Which it has been, like you say, the last 3 years particularly have been particularly good. So it's just that fine tuning every year, I think, and as a crew that we use, a lot of the same crew come back, same creative people, creative minds. Their teams are growing around them as well as they're coming to, on site. They know what to do. They can bring their new ideas, play around with them. Existing ideas can be tightened. So and the new crew that are arriving are right into a very comfortable family, so they can slot in there.
Is there like artistically, do you kind of have the same sort of core group every time, and then they bring on their own extra independence?
Yeah. So, essentially there's kind of three main visually kind of areas, 4 if you include the gallery as a separate entity, but 4. But there's origin stage, the trance, the beat stage, and then everything in between.
I was going to say that channel through the woods this year felt like there was just more, like the flags, the little touches on decor throughout just felt like kind of quite lush.
Yeah, so that's a separate team that's doing that. Okay. So we've got the team on each floor, and then a team that does the site decor. And that team's really grown from strength to strength, headed up by our dear friend Tash, and she's done an amazing job in pulling in all kinds of different artists and really funky people with ideas, a bunch of ideas people proposed this year which we couldn't fit in for various reasons, be it space or time or budget, whatever it was. So it's about creating. So everywhere you look in the festival, there's something. You turn around, there's something there, there's something there. It's, we want it to be an expression of not only sound, music, but also visual art. So the more artists we can get involved, the better.
It's kind of just, you mentioned there, I think selling out, I don't know if I picked that up, but I thought about, I remember there was always an anxiety around how much you could put into your festival, not knowing how many people were coming.
Yeah.
And like maybe the last 3 years, it kind of gets towards, the actual date of event, but you have been selling out, which does that give you sort of more?
Massive.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I was thinking about it when the question was asked, but I forgot. You brought it up. Thanks. It makes a huge difference. So, since the pandemic, we limited the amount of tickets that we're selling. And by doing that, we've attracted such an amazing crowd because the people that are coming are committed to the festival. They're not just coming because it's the big jewel on that weekend. It's because they want to come and they're getting in. So every year we're selling out earlier and earlier. This year it was almost 2 weeks before the gig. We sold out. Knowing that we're going to sell out, we can set our budgets. And so when artists come to us and say, we want to do this, we can go, sure, get it.
Yeah.
You know, I need to get this foam, I need to get this glue, I need to get this paint.
Totally.
Sure, there's your budget, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to do this. Yeah, we can't afford that this year.
Yeah.
And there's no like waiting around and then and then it doesn't happen. It's just we can actually just commit to it.
Yeah, your decisions are
so much
more
easier,
obvious, clearer.
So people having limited the tickets, pushed the ticket prices up and that kind of thing a bit, although it's still very affordable, is just that commitment means we can commit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people, I think, they're seeing that and feeling that through the festival.
I hope so, because I always feel like, I don't know, maybe in previous years there was a very obvious lack of foresight from some of the punters to say, if you want the best time, commit and you'll get the best time.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of just simple math, really.
We used to, years ago, certainly 10 years ago, we'd be selling, people were buying tickets so late and we were risking so much. I mean, even more now financially, but at least now, we're more confident that we're going to get those targets. But then, we'd be waiting to, budgeting on 4,000 people to arrive, and just the last 500 people would be our profit. And you'd only sold 2,000 tickets before gates open. And people were buying tickets at the gate. Yeah. I'm glad that's kind of culture is slowly disappearing.
Yeah.
Lastminute.com. Obviously, I get it. Some people earn a living paycheck by paycheck.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and especially in summer in Cape Town, you've got October, November, December, big party months.
Yeah.
So, and then you go into January and you've got Christmas and New Year's. So people want to save their money because they want to go to that event and they want to buy some Christmas presents and they want to go to New Year's Eve. And, do I have money for Origin? I'll just wait till January. And it's, I get it, it's tricky, but I think if people come every year, I know there's a bunch of friends, they get their tickets, they're only in the first 10 people who buy tickets every year because we're coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the tickets are cheaper than when we first announced it. We always announce to our email list first. So if you bought tickets a year before, if you're on the email list, you'll know it before we put it up on social media. We say tickets are online now. They're in there. They got their tickets and they're cool. They don't have to, and they know we're going to announce. It's normally in October. We put the tickets online.
But it's cool you've created a brand that people can depend on, because I think maybe in the past there's been a few new festivals that have tried to enter the space in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And have struck. They've had big issues, had problems.
Yeah.
So it's not a given that you're going to get kind of consumer confidence. But I definitely feel with Origin, it's like there is just no doubt. So that's kind of a nice thing. And that's definitely why you attract such a kind of a repeat kind of audience sometimes.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of it. At the end of last year, so at the end of this year, our head of security said, we hardly had there was really no big problems, nothing. Can we have all these people come back next year? And I was like, that's what you said last year. So we're getting that. We're actually getting that people are coming back the right kind. Even though I know there are a bunch of first timers and people who haven't been in 15 years as well that I saw this year. It's the same headspace. It's the same, people who get it. The dance floors are so much cleaner than they used to be. People are having a good time, but there's just a good energy. I mean, also I lost and found, and I mentioned at the end of the festival, people handing in wallets with money in them, and they'll go into lost and found and getting their wallet with everything. Everything's there. People were, just open and honest and really good.
That happened to me once at a festival, but it was VOOV, and I dropped my traveler's checks and passport. But a bit more kind of protection with traveler's checks. But someone handed in the whole thing, and I just had the best festival after that, because it full faith in humanity.
Totally.
So those little things are not to be kind of
that's
overlooked.
It. Not at all. And we're trying to create a community ultimately, and I think there's a really good sense of community at Origin. And it's about, once a year, getting all the like-minded people together. And that's always been the intention. And I think, not only in South Africa and Cape Town, we've got people from all over South Africa coming. There's a bunch of people that come over from overseas. Some every year, some every couple of years. But, it's still this calling card. It's where we can get, like, this gang, this community can get together, So I'm really proud of that.
Do you think now that you've launched and are about to this year have your first UK edition of Origin, like Origin UK, do you think that's going to cross-pollinate kind of maybe some of the, your audience or your pool here will go there and vice versa?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's, we've got a long way to go. The reaction's been amazing. The support's been amazing for Origin UK so far. Like, so many people come out the woodwork, offering to get involved, offering to help, just want to be part of it. It's a different scene. It's a different thing there. The UK versus South Africa. They're very different. There's obviously a lot of similarities in some ways. You've been there, but there's also it is different on all kinds of levels. So I'm looking forward to the challenges there, and then hopefully there will be even more cross-pollination. I think the opportunity to bring what we have here in Cape Town up north, in the UK and Europe, and vice versa.
See, Regan was already living in Cape Town. I moved here 2001, roughly. I was trying to get in on the scene as just a nobody DJ, like an eager beaver DJ. And so maybe I started to get noticed playing the after parties, and being like just an overly keen person trying to get a set. But I think it was probably only, I don't know if it was through maybe like a Simon Malherbe that maybe I kind of connected with you more, but it was definitely only once I started making music that I think I maybe got a bit more onto your radar.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe one of your first tracks, did I get a demo on a CD from someone? A CD?
No, so the story I tell, and the way I remember it, is for whatever, you were borrowing something, and I can't remember what the hell it was, but I had some random, I don't know if it was a mixer or a something or other.
It was not a synth for a party, maybe.
Exactly, something like this. You came round to the house I was living in Woodstock to borrow it, and like I had this tiny little studio thing, and I kind of like used the opportunity to play you a snippet of what I was working on, and it was luckily at that time just starting to sound like decent. And there was only 2-3 minutes of it, and you were like, cool, this is cool. And then like you kind of gave me this little incentive to say, send me, can you get it to 5 minutes? And then I think I started sending you updates, and by the time it was around that 5-minute mark, you said, I like it, like, I want to release it, can you finish it? And then it was just like deadline, I like a thing. And so I think you basically were the first ears and that first release and the first real sort of put me on the map opportunity.
Was that on my compilation?
That was Network.
That was a Network.
Yeah, Network. So that was Welcome to the Future.
Yes.
The Future Begins Today.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that now. Classic, yes.
So that was the beginning of everything for me. So it was huge.
Oh, that's so rad.
And I think once that sort of happened, then all of a sudden there were some more eyes and ears to get some better sets in Cape Town. And then you offered me a back-to-back.
Yes, I remember that one.
Was that Earth Dance?
That was an Earth Dance.
Yeah.
And that was an Earth Dance. That was the first, I remember that Earth Dance.
Neki Festival.
Neki's first time we did it there.
Like 2005. It must have been 4 or 5.
Probably.
Because the release came out around 2005, so probably 2005.
Yes. I remember I was like, okay, at the festival that we were producing, let's showcase this new guy, Headroom, and I'll play back-to-back with him, and it could be like, check this guy out.
It was perfect,
And so that was really fun. I remember that very clearly, that whole weekend, actually, for so many reasons, but that moment stands out.
It was huge.
Back to back together.
Because prior to that, there was no sort of progress from my point trying to get in, because these festivals were like massive in every way. Like you kind of had to have put in the groundwork locally to even be on that lineup, and I was still trying to slowly make a way. But and then all of a sudden that just opened that whole door and window for me, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a very fond memory for me too.
Yeah,
it really is.
It was super
It's
special.
so good. That and your first album, I remember like coming in to your house a lot. If every track, you're like, okay, listen to this track. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, oh, I'm not finished with that. I'm not quite. Oh, I'm going to fix that. Okay, cool. But they're like, for the whole process, they're coming into the album and checking and watching it developed and just, and obviously we did the collab together as well. The track
Lank
Intense.
I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been, and I didn't. This is literally an epiphany right now. I think that feels like the first time, like the kind of wordplay pun track naming thing started.
It might have been.
I don't think I was
master of that now.
It became an obsession that every track name would be a fun kind of wordplay thing. And that was probably
It might be the first one.
It might be the ground zero.
Yeah. It was such fun times. So much time spent in your studio in Woodstock. It was awesome. It's really fun memories of that and the album and everything. And then you just breaking out and then obviously all the success you had in the last more previous year, in recent years.
Yeah, it's like it's like people always ask, how things are going, and I just think, there's these huge ebbs and flow,
totally,
like to all
always,
of it. Like it's never always like peaking. It's just not the nature of life or existence. But around that album point, it was just so many positive things happening and stuff, and like Nano and the label, which is such a big part of it, because you just the barrier to getting music released was huge with distribution and contracts. I mean, I even got an advance, which and you used to get paid some money for tracks ahead of time.
We had money to
now it's like
beforehand.
It's a very different machine.
Yeah, totally.
And back then it was you were kind of juggling quite a lot, man, if I think about it, because like a label then must have been that much more work, right?
It feels like more work now, but that's only because we're releasing every week now. But
and the promotion thing's a different.
It's different things, different beast. But it was just a different tempo, different frequency in terms of like how you're doing things. There's a big pressure to kind of get things done, and then you have this big release of a CD, and then you'll be marketing that. Marketing was very different. It was all magazines and radio, around the world, flyering and that kind of thing. So it was very different.
And yet people still got out there, still traveled the world, still got noticed. It was, if you just think how much more complicated and unlikely it is that you would ever get out. But then there was less people doing it, so definitely, there was more kind of space on the airwaves.
Yeah, there was, and I think there was excitement about. At that point, South Africa was very much in the international scene. It was the new kid on the block in terms of putting music out, back into the scene. So I think there's so much excitement. Yeah. Well, okay, what's coming out of South Africa now? And the scene was so big and rocking. It was. There was a really good melting pot of
But Nano was doing its own thing. If you compared it to the other labels, like Time Code, there was like a different sound that was really popular from here. Yeah. And Nano, you just kind of had your own thing going on the whole time.
Certainly the Cape Town scene was very underground for a long time. There was a lot of 2000s, we got the influence from the millennium with the international travelers coming down, and then the eclipse thereafter, and 2 eclipses in Zambia, South Africa. So there are a lot of international travelers coming through, and you got that global scene coming through South Africa. And then, after that, then I think the scene was, the parties were so good in Cape Town.
I mean, it felt like they were bigger. Like the productions were just absurd.
A huge production, so many parties that it was like, for many people, it was like a rite of passage. Yeah. You left school and you had to go to an Earth Dance, a Vortex, an Alien Safari. You had to go do those things. There weren't as much, like the choice, there was like the outdoor trance parties and then clubs. Yeah. The house scene, drum and bass scene, they weren't doing outdoor parties. There's maybe a little techno floor or something, we had a little beats floor Origin, that kind of thing. There wasn't, those other genres weren't represented. You still had to go to clubs. So kids were coming out of school and you got to go to this outdoor parties, these outdoor raves, and there's high trance parties. So that was, like I said, a rite of passage.
But almost kind of, because it was such a normal thing in Cape Town, it almost felt mainstream, even though the music was super underground.
Yeah, totally. That's what you do, right?
Yeah,
You
so
go to
they're like,
trance
I just
parties.
remember there was a time where people kind of almost stopped dressing up. It used to feel very hippie, and everyone
Yeah.
was quite,
Yeah.
colorful
Yeah.
and would maybe even be silly. And then,
Yeah.
just a rebellious kind of juxtaposition to how everyone is in mainstream society. Like trance was not that, and not trying to be that, and trying to tell you it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But then it felt like K-Town also, people just rock up in their kind of blue denims and black shirt.
Yeah.
And like just tackies, and like it was that much of a normal thing that like not to say everyone was normal, but it was quite a lot of like people who you wouldn't.
They weren't
class
freaky.
as-
They weren't freaky.
and weren't particularly hippie.
Yeah,
either.
we weren't happy. Yeah,
But-
there were a lot of suddenly. I remember friends from overseas coming and we're, wow, South Africa in the scene. Everyone's just like in their boardies and a t-shirt. It's not so freaky. And I was like, yeah, it's just part of the landscape. Like
kind of normalized.
Yeah, it's just part of the culture. It's like the people. They go to a bar on Friday night and they go to trance party Saturday night, and that's what you do. That's what they did anyway.
Well, you'd ask everyone would make that decision at 2 or 3 in the
2 in the
morning.
morning. Let's go. Like you're always going to go. Why didn't you just go earlier and buy the ticket the week before?
I just one sort of viewpoint I feel in terms of like a big shift in the scene in so many ways was definitely like phone cameras and social media have had a manipulative like effect on this whole thing for me, because I feel like the dramatic build up, the hands in the air, the capturing and glorifying of those moments, and the kind of cycle event of that leading to more producers making bigger build-ups and longer breakdowns to get those exact reactions to put on social media to sell and get booked. There was kind of this vicious cycle happening that also sort of tied into this sort of more mainstreamy like direction with Psy. I feel like some people were just trying to grow, and maybe there was a bit of ego chasing in some of that stuff. And it was just almost unavoidable because there was never a camera on the dance floor.
No,
and then all of a sudden there's always a camera on the dance floor. And it is like, I think for, the producers and DJs trying to make a living who are just depending on it, like us to a degree, you couldn't ignore it even if it wasn't who you are. And so it's put us in a kind of complicated situation, case in point interview. But that like I feel like affected a lot of the decision in the music being made and sort of maybe the experience being had at some of these parties. And now it's gone to like not specifically psytrance, but there are some events you've seen where it's just a phone show.
It's a media circus.
Yeah, the joy is not participating in the event. The joy is sharing your participation in the event online. That's the dopamine hit now. It's not actually you dancing in the moment to the song.
Yeah.
So like there is a complicated relationship at the whole scene, and everyone's trying to get over.
Yeah. Have you've been to a psychedelic circus? Have you ever been to a media circus? So
It was ahead of its time.
that's a really good point. And I think also because especially with trance music, proper trance music, psychedelic trance music, the best moments on the dance floor is when there's no breaks, where you're just in that trance state and it's just throbbing and it's just going and you're just going and you're going. So it's definitely pulled away from that. There's like Go is always great for that, where you go there and you go to Sheba Valley. And if you have a break, you pray that break is no more than 8 bars long, because everyone's waiting, they're looking at you. You just want to keep pumping, and there's that kind of that vibe, which I think certainly social media has stolen. Or there's some parts of the world who've never quite got that anyway. They've always wanted the kind of EDM big build-ups. And look, I'm not saying I wouldn't also. I play build-ups and breaks and that kind of thing. It's all about tension and release, right? So keeping the dance floor, keeping them there, keeping them like in the pocket, in the palm of your hand, and then having that euphoric
but never
moment.
Forgetting the power of the kind of the tribal,
this tribal locking
commitment
in
to it. You lose that focal commitment to the song, and if there's a break, you just you snap out of the trance that you're in, and then all of a sudden you're like thinking about, oh shit, I'm thirsty, or you start,
go to the bar, now go to the next song.
Or the worst would be you start fucking talking to the person next to you,
totally.
and then like this is a big issue for every festival. It's just the chatter on the dance floor, which it's a little bit too much.
It's too much. So it's that the tribal dance, the tribal trance, that's like, that's what everyone's chasing really. And when you get, when you actually can just get people to just lock in
Yeah.
and just groove, it's just the best. Yeah.
Flow state.
Obviously, you played the closing set, so maybe also talk about that as a tradition and so on, and why Regan chose you.
Well, I'll let Regan tell you why he chose.
Well, he held a gun to my head.
I think some of the Sunday Funday crowd probably put a bit of pressure on.
No one did.
I think like
it's not your first year. I mean,
no. Look, I used to play that closing set quite often because it suits maybe a slightly slower tempo, progressive kind of DJ, and I quite like playing some of the those sort of tracks and unusual. And you get a lot of opportunity when you have that set to play anything you want.
Yeah.
You could go harder, you could go softer, and it's more about that. I was given those sets, and it went well for me, and I think so. Getting to do it again, and then it was actually, I think it was amplified because I had a break from playing the Sunday.
Yeah.
I'd got to play a Friday, which I was resistant because in the past, like Friday where people, you didn't have the numbers there yet, but the last 3 years it's been like...
Yeah, it's packed. The Friday night on the trance floor is just such a big energy. It's probably the biggest energy.
Yeah.
And it's, I think the first time I asked Adam to play a Friday, he was like, no, I didn't. Wasn't keen on that. And that was a couple of years ago. And then I convinced him 2 years ago, I think, to play Friday.
It's going to be full production, full visuals,
everything's
full sound.
We're not holding back.
There's no distractions.
Yeah,
it's all focused.
And it was rocking. I played Friday last year, and I was like, I'm nearly played it again this year. I was like, okay, no, I did that last year. I'll put myself. I'll do something different.
I did love it.
Yeah, it's such a vibe.
You close your eyes and you see colors begin racing together, and it forms this mandala slowly rotating, and you didn't do enough.
And then you kind of got Saturday, Sunday
To enjoy.
Just party.
It's so great.
Yeah.
But there's something, also obviously closing is special. So it's a big moment.
It does also get nerve-wracking because you've got 2 days of being at the festival with everyone you walk past saying, hey, looking forward to this. Hey, don't mess it up. Hey, you do this. By the end of it, you're pretty nervous.
Yeah.
And, but you were kind of in tune with the festival. Yeah, I was pretty broken because I'd had a lot of fun on Friday and Saturday, and I woke up sort of in a very zombie-like state. But it's like the moment you get up there and you just look at this crowd and that floor and that sound system, and you just like zoof, and all of a sudden I was just like so high and
you didn't
jumping and
short on energy at all.
No, I mean, but I did not feel that way. Like sort of as I started my walk up there, and then it's an incredible kind of thrill.
Yeah, it's great. We didn't talk about our highlights other than you.
My highlight beyond that set, which was incredible, was actually finding out there was a renegade dance floor at the beat stage hidden in this old petrol station. I've been going for years and I didn't know about this. And I may or may not have been in Wonderland, with the help of a certain substance, but I was just blown away. And I went in there and it was like a kind of UK squat party going on with people spray painting and like a very like completely different sound to what was being played outside. And it just tickled like a surprise, thing in me. I just felt so satisfied finding something fresh, new and bizarre, which, you're very good at with your festivals and your kind of, you guys are very playful with it.
Totally.
And that was this kind of city highlight.
That was great. So.
Plus I also, I should say I had a huge collection of friends from Zimbabwe, some of which flew in from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And
good crew.
I had a huge crew of like some of my old rave generation people who were there for like my sort of foundation of early partying and music obsession and DJing and stuff. So all these things added up to a very, very special origin.
It was great. It was really good. Yeah, that was fun. It was nice talking about the Beats floor. We did Friday night for the first time this year. We've spoken about it for years. Should we, shouldn't we open it? And I thought, this year, let's open it. And so we did 8 till 2 or 3. And it went really well. And it didn't affect the Saturday at all. The Saturday Beats floor was exactly how it's always been. There was, I think some DJs were playing on Saturday who were nervous that, we're going to, kind of blow the steam off too early, but it was not at all. So it was, I think they went really well, and it just means it's more playtime, to have a few more DJs, do something a little bit different on the Friday night to what's on Saturday and Sunday as well. So that was really exciting for me. The opening of that stage was particularly special because a friend of ours, unfortunately, passed away, was taken away from us last year, and she used to run the bar, part of the bars, and she'd often run that Beats bar. So we named the bar after her this year, the Cindy's Tavern. So we had a little opening ceremony beforehand, and that was really, really special to have that moment, and then open for the first time the Friday night as well. So that was really heartfelt, and there's a great sense of community as well. Saturday, I got to play on Saturday, which was really fun. I'm just happy to see, both dance floors working so great, and the whole Saturday was a highlight. It's hard to pick a highlight per day. Sunday, same again. I think I was just so grateful that everything had gone so well to that point. Going into Sunday and the weather was good. I was like, wow, we're going to end on a good note, and it was a great ending. You played a smashing set. Barat, Star Lab before you, Shame. I was really happy with that lineup as well.
Yeah, it was tidy.
That Sunday lineup going from Greg, who did Verax, right into Ethereal. She always plays really well, and then into Shane. And we've got Shane Deliriant and Adam.
He's also
biggest names in Psytrance in Cape Town.
He's
on the Sunday, Sam with Star Lab from India, sandwiched in between them. I thought that's just such a strong Sunday Cape Town flavored lineup, and I knew Barat Star Lab would also bring something really fresh and interesting that the Cape Town would love. So I think it was a really good flow. So that was just that was heaving.
I don't know, something like some of the guys you booked. It just felt like all like really mature, top of their game, but like no egos.
Yeah,
like a lot of the music was just like, just proper real deal stuff.
Yeah.
But not infused with ego at all.
Yeah.
And like that's really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
You felt that. I felt that musically. I thought, geez, people are getting a treat here. They're not getting this kind of maybe that influence that can kind of affect.
Yeah, it wasn't poppy in terms of lineup. And that's what having Melting Point on Saturday night playing, Earthspace and Brain Cell, like Earthspace rocking Friday night, Brain Cell also Saturday night, but then after he did his Brain Cell set, and he's such a master, but the Melting Point project I love so much. It's like really the music they make together is just so special. And they were supposed to play Origin 2021, but the pandemic stopped play, so we didn't do it that year. And so it's a matter of just like post-pandemic, we've been finding our feet and like changing the format of the festival a little bit, and brought the numbers down and fine-tuning it like we have. And I was like, okay, they just released their new album last year. I was like, this is the perfect time. Let's get the guys here. So it was just, for me, it was like closing of a circle to finally have Melting Point there. And it's such good trance music, it's good psychedelic. It's nightimey, but it's funky. It's not harsh. It's really good psychedelic music. So I was stoked for that. And then Guy Barata on the Saturday.
Yeah, he got me, eh?
Did he get you good?
Yeah, I wasn't, because I hadn't heard him for so long.
Yeah.
I'd kind of maybe tapped out of what he'd been doing recently, but geez, by the last half of his set completely blew me away.
Amazing.
It was really great, yeah.
Really nice guy. Great to have him. I've been a fan for a long time. First time I met him was, honestly, I feel like 20 years ago almost.
Yeah, he's also
in Brazil at a festival that we were both playing at. And so that was just like also a closing of a circle, like get him here. And, he was, very gracious to come. And super interesting artist, you know, and so really nice to have him. And you know, that also just for me, like besides the production being so smooth this year, just the level of artistry from our visual artists and our stage, you know, the guys holding the stage and so good. You know, the red telephone doing the beats floor is so much going into so much detail.
So good now.
So good. And then Artiscape and Craig going with the visuals, and you know, Gary and Wayne doing all the video mapping and then the lasers this year as well.
It's just a lot of like real talent who are
super
so
talented people.
now.
That's
like all like local legends, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, there's people who've like we've been working together for 26 years. You know, there's some of the crew members at my first, like I was doing parties before then, but certainly there's one crew member who's been with me, you know, with us at all our events since then, and others who've been almost as long. And there's others, you know, obviously, you know, came for the first time this year and just slotted in perfectly. But, you know, all those crews putting in so much effort, and that's what's so nice. Everyone comes up with new ideas. They say, "Oh, what do you want to do this year?" And, you know, I'll tell them what I'm thinking, and then they'll tell me what they're thinking, and invariably they'll come up with much better ideas than me. And I'm like, cool, great, go with that, you know. So yeah, it's really cool to see how that's kind of all morphed, and how people, you know, they're coming up to me with ideas. We spoke about this earlier in terms of even just in suppliers coming. Oh, I've got this new tech. I really want to bring this and showcase it here, you know, and cool. That's what the space is for, to showcase the best that we have in Cape Town, in South Africa. So I think we're really doing that. I'm pretty proud of that. Like, we're certainly trying. I think we're doing a pretty good job.
I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. So, you know, it takes a team.
Ooh, you just finished.
Just finished 26. Okay, well, I'll tell you, like, you know, joking about what's happening in 2027.
Are people already asking you? They're like,
even before gates even opened this year, I was really having conversations, particularly with the artists on site doing the stages, about what we're going to do next year. You know, we're already going, okay, you know, the gates will open, and I was like, wow, this is looking amazing. Cool, really happy. Let's see what the lights like tonight. You know, everything, we did the test the night before, but let's see once the show is running, how it's going, what are we going to do next year? And every year it's like that, like, oh my gosh, how do we build on this? Like, what are we going to do? So, you know, the big thing is, it's going to be a big outlay for us, is we're going to change the canopy next year. So the Origin stage, you know, we've had the Leaf for the last 3 years. I feel like 3 years is a good time to then change it up. Every year we've changed it, we've added to it, or taken, like this year, there's new panels sewn into it with like different colors.
I feel like it was, just refined.
It looks so good.
Such a good point this year, but the theme is always there, which is cool.
Yeah, so I think, just to throw a curveball, I like a challenge, so let's add a little bit of a challenge. Let's do new canopy next year.
Does that come with more cost if you're going to change it?
A lot more.
You can't really reuse.
A lot more. So, and there's a lot of like just thinking that has to go into it. There's a lot of design. You know, Karen from Artiscape, she'll work closely with Kyle, and they design the canopy together and the way it gets rigged. So we'll discuss ideas and colors and themes and whatever it might be, and then it's like, okay, how do you make this thing actually work and be safe and, you know, sit in the air? So there's a lot of development that goes into that. So that's already kind of talking about that already. And I'm looking forward to where that goes. Obviously, we've got Origin UK in the middle of that all, which you're also talking about. And then, Beats Floor as well. How do we fine tune that? And I mean, I think it's really hitting a sweet spot at the moment as well.
I feel so lazy listening to you talking about all this shit. I'm like, fuck, and he's done an album, and he's DJing constantly, and he's like back and forth while being a dad and a husband. Like, fucking, I need to do more.
And we've got a non-profit. We've got the charity side of things as well.
Oh my gosh.
Which is something we don't talk about enough, but we do a lot of charity work.
Yeah.
With certainly the municipality in the region where we do Origin, and that's always great to work with them. That was actually a highlight. That was a highlight from this year. Was a surprise. Was before the gates opened this year, the municipality came and did their safety checks, and fire team and fire marshals come and the police and everyone and municipality, and the guys who are in charge of events for the area and local economic development. We've got a great relationship with them, and there's a runner called Adrian Swart who ran in the Olympics for the Springboks, which Origin sponsored for the last 2 years. And, you know, along with other people, but we've also developed this relationship with him. So I've been speaking to him, you know, they put me in touch with him, and to help get in, basically, first we got him to help him get, along with other people, to the Netherlands 2 years ago, 2024, to get into the qualifying. And he qualified, and then he ran for South Africa. And he's from the area, he's from Caledon, so he's a huge inspiration to the people of the area there in the region. And so, yeah, and we helped him out, and we've been talking to him, and he said, I'm going to give you my number from the Olympics. I was like, you don't have to do that. He's like, no, I want to give it to you. So unfortunately, I couldn't meet him. We're going to meet this year, but because he's running overseas at the moment in more competitions. But the guys from the municipality brought this. They said, I got a present for you. So they pulled out at the end of it, done the whole tour around the site to check all the boxes. Okay, fine, you can open the doors. They presented me with one of his Springbok running vests, and in like framed, signed with his number and photos of him in the Olympics, wow, which was awesome. You know,
super cool.
That's so cool. That, and then we're also presented with Genadendal Rugby Club, which is like a village nearby to where the festival is. And last year we sponsored the rugby club with, so we gave them money to bought them new kit. So there's, I wish I had it here to show you, but it's the Origin logo. Like the Genadendal Rugby Club is like the rugby outfit, and it's just got Origin emblazoned across their chest.
Hey, that's such a sick sponsor to have.
It's epic. It's so, I mean, it's such a privilege for us to be able to sponsor and help these, like the local teams and that kind of thing. And again, it's what Origin's about, is creating community, and the local community, you know, we get to work with them. I work with all kinds of people, from, you know, churches to rugby clubs, sports clubs, to police and music schools, and like all these amazing, you know, like all kinds of schools as well, just general schools as well. So you really get to meet all kinds of people in the community, and that's just so inspiring as well. You know, I mean, I kind of look outside and then also try to share from what we're doing with everyone else.
And then it just kind of makes you such a warm sort of part of that area. They welcome you with,
I hope so. Yeah, totally. And that's the attitude we've had since we first got there. It's always been like, we arrived there, like, right, we're going to come and we're going to always give a percentage of our profits to charity, and we always have, and we always will.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well done.
It's really cool. Thanks. Yeah, it's rad. That's so much fun to do that.
Cool.
Giving is the best thing you can do.